Welcome to SVG-TV News for Monday, February 18th, 2019. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. The court hearing of the election petitions entered its second week of testimony from the respondents' witnesses. At today's session, former Supervisor of Elections Sylvia Finley Scrub took the stand to be further cross-examined, followed by two other witnesses. Larissa Pugsley Kidd was in court today and tells us more on what transpired in this report.
In court today, former Elections Supervisor Sylvia Finley Scrub was again called up to be cross-examined for her second witness statement, this time for the North Windward constituency, which Montgomery Daniel won in December 2015 general elections. Finley Scrub was again asked about the ballot boxes, which she agreed with the petitioner's lawyer Keith Scotland, that were made from plastic with detachable lids which could be removed. She also agreed with Scotland that there were no hinges on the box with locks for keys to be used to secure them. Finley Scrub also told the court that the ties used to secure the boxes were color-coded and that there were no way presiding officers could have cut and put back similar colors. Scotland further asked about Finley Scrub's report in 2010. However, this was not allowed as the respondent's lawyer, senior counsel Douglas Mendez, said that it was not part of the evidence and should not be referenced. Judge Stanley John told Scotland that if he is doing so, such statements should be left at the door. Judge Stanley further cautioned Scotland when he asked Finley Scrub to jog her memory to recall if she noted that boxes should have keys. Finley Scrub was then asked if she received any complaints of the excess of 39 counterfoils than ballots, to which she answered yes, but that it was dealt with in the preliminary count. Form 16 then came into question, which indicates how a final count was arrived at. When asked if she did the work-in, Finley Scrub said no and that the presiding officer provides the report and she trusted his final count, as the process is usually done in the presence of polling agents, which included party representatives. No work-in for Form 16 was presented to the court as evidence to show how these final counts were arrived at. While the petitioner's lawyer, Scotland, was still cross-examining the former Supervisor of Elections, there was murmurings by the respondent's lead lawyers which Scotland overheard to believe that the witness could also hear. It was then that lead lawyer Anthony Astafan said that the petitioner's lawyer spent 2 hours on rubbish. Scotland said he finds that to be very disrespectful and seek the judge intervention, who acknowledged what transpired. Scotland was asked to proceed with his cross-examination on how ballots are removed and wrapped up asking if Finley received any complaints by presiding officers, to which she answered in the negative. Just before lunch, Susan Thomas of Layou was called to the stand. Thomas was a presiding officer at polling station CLF in Layou in the Central Leeward constituency. Thomas was asked by lead counsel for the petitioners, Stanley Stocky John, about the training she received. Thomas stated that training was provided by presiding officer Winston Games 3 weeks prior to the December 2015 general elections, and that she did not remember who were the other persons receiving training at the time. She also said that at no time was a ballot paper used to demonstrate how stamps or initials were affixed. Thomas said she collected ballot boxes early in the morning on elections day but did not recall what time and who were the other persons collecting ballot boxes. Thomas was cross-examined on the way ballots should be removed from the counterfoil and what equipment used, as some counterfoils were said to have the affixed stamp and initial and none on some ballots. She said she used a ruler and scissors to tear and cut, as there were some ballots that were not perforated. Asked if during her training Mr. Games told her to meet the rules of counterfoils, to which she answered in the affirmative. Thomas was also asked if she is aware that there was a ballot box that had a key and plastic straps were used instead, to which she answered in the affirmative. Thomas was further asked about the plastic straps used, to which she said she did not recall, however, noting that there was a difference in designs on stamps. Wallace Christopher was the second witness for the respondents called up to give evidence in the Central Leeward case today. Christopher, who is also from Layou, was also a presiding officer at CLF 1. Under cross-examination, he was asked about the where initials and stamps should be affixed on counterfoils. Christopher said that they started tearing counterfoils on elections, but it was after that his training kicked in and remembered the proper way of affixing initials and stamps. He also told the court he couldn't recall how many had errors. He was also trained by Winston Games. When asked if he had informed Mr. Games that something was amiss, he said no. Asked if he told the elections supervisor, again he said no. And he was then asked if he told his lawyer, to which he said no. He, however, said that he counted all ballots and was sure that all ballots had his initials. He was also asked if he knew what constitutes a rejected ballot, to which he answered yes. The hearing will continue tomorrow morning. Reporting for SVG-TV News, Larissa Pogsley-Kidd.
This country will next month host an official one-day visit by two members of the British royal family, the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall, as part of a Caribbean tour on arrival to the state on Wednesday, March 20th. The royals will be met by Governor-General Sir Frederick Ballantyne and Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves. The Agency for Public Information says during the visit, key themes that will be highlighted in the events program include the preservation of SVG's natural environment, youth opportunity, and female empowerment. The Prince of Wales is expected to tour the St. Vincent Botanic Gardens, whilst the Duchess of Cornwall will visit the St. Vincent Girls High School, where pupils have been busy creating their entries for the Queen's Commonwealth Essay Competition. The other islands to be visited on their Caribbean tour are St. Lucia, Barbados, St. Kitts and Nevis, Grenada, Cuba, and the British Overseas Territory, Cayman Islands. It will be the first time that Cuba will receive an official visit from a member of the royal family. The Prince of Wales has visited 45 out of the 53 Commonwealth nations. The Duchess has visited 21 Commonwealth nations with the Prince of Wales. This will be the Duchess of Cornwall's first visit to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Kitts and Nevis, Grenada, and the Cayman Islands. The areas of clean energy, community development, and the Zero Hunger program have all benefited from this country's relationship with the United Arab Emirates, the UAE. Speaking on WeFM last Friday, Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves said during his recent trip to the Emirates, he was able to meet with government and private sector representatives from the UAE and discuss several issues of development for SVG. The Prime Minister said SVG has a good relationship with the Emirates, as it is the only OECS country to have visa-free travel with the Federation. Highlighting some of the areas the Emirates have assisted in the development of this country, the Prime Minister spoke of a $15 million soft loan, which he said has assisted SVG in making headway with its geothermal project.
We have $15 million soft loan from the Abu Dhabi Development Fund into the geothermal project. That money would be drawn down in the next phase, which is the drilling phase of the project. That the drilling would start in April. By Carnival, we should know the quality of the resource which we have there when we do the big bore drilling. As you are aware, the first phase of the civil project, the civil works on the project, that first phase is complete with the building, the drilling pads and the like. So that's one project in which we're involved in $15 million US. Then you will see also down at Union Island a solar energy project of $6 million. That would be commissioned sometime this year.
The Prime Minister said the UAE also provides $500,000 annually to the Zero Hunger Trust Fund and highlighted its progress so far.
The school feeding program, you know, for instance, in 12 schools, which are in the quote-unquote poorest area of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as identified by the 2012 census, the children in those 12 schools get their lunches free, plus other things. And from the Zero Hunger Trust Fund. And we also have, out of that fund, as a result of this injection of money, we do renovations of several kitchens across the country in the school feeding program, which a recent audit shows is delivering on its purpose.
In the area of community development, the Prime Minister said the UAE has also provided a $5 million grant which goes towards the Public Access to Village Enhancement or PAVE project. He said this project is necessary given the growth of housing development over the years.
Yeah, for these footpaths, you know. The NDP had done some footpaths in 1 or 2 areas of the country. This would be a more comprehensive program. Of course, more houses have been built on hillsides because housing between 2001 and 2001 and 2012, the housing stock increased by 25% by 1 quarter. And since 2012 to now, it has also increased further. And you know, we are a mountainous country, so a lot of places people need footpaths. So we have secured this source. Those would be done by small contractors. And so I was making sure that all those things continue to flow.
The new non-resident ambassador of Japan to SVG, His Excellency Tatsuhiro Hirayama, presented his credentials to Governor General His Excellency Sir Frederick Ballantyne at Government House last Wednesday. St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Japan officially established diplomatic relations on April 15, 1980. Since then, both countries have cemented close cooperation throughout various sectors, including agriculture, healthcare, fisheries, education, disaster preparedness, and people-to-people exchanges. While in the state, Ambassador Hirayama met with several senior government officials. He also participated in a signing ceremony held at the Catholic Pastoral Center in Edinburgh for the Grant Assistance for Grassroots Human Security Project, GGP, entitled The Project for the Renovation of the St. Mary's Roman Catholic School, valued at $86,028.65. At a handing over ceremony for several equipment and machines contributed by the government of Japan, held on the same day on the grounds of the National Emergency Office NEMO, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Sandy Peters Phillips said over the 39 years of friendship, Japan has stayed loyal to SVG and has consistently provided assistance for the development of the fisheries sector.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines received assistance for the construction of a fishing complex in Kingston, which was completed in 1990. Since then, 8 other structures were constructed in the fishing communities such as Caliacqua, Chateaubelair, Barreley, Oria, Paget Farm, Canoan, Mustique, and the Union Island. In addition, over the past 31 years, the government of Japan has supported the development of fish landing sites. Approximately 90% of the total fish catch is landed and distributed at these landing sites. Moreover, Japan has also provided support for building capacity for the fisher folk and provide basic training for our fishermen. Notably, the government of Japan recently approved the proposal for the construction of a blackfish facility, which would be built in the area of Barreley.
The Permanent Secretary said a number of Vincentians has also benefited from several volunteer programs offered by the Japanese government.
The Japan International Cooperation Agency. This is where the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines benefits from the volunteer program. At present, there are 2 volunteers in St. Vincent. However, an additional 4 is expected to arrive by the 2nd quarter of this year. B, the Japan Exchange Teaching Program, which provides an excellent platform for Vincentian nationals to gain international exposure and experience and develop a greater understanding for the appreciation of the Japanese culture. At present, there are 2 Vincentians on the program. However, the ministry is working towards increasing the numbers. Interested persons, you are asked to submit applications to the ministry. Please note that the deadline for submission is March 8, 2019. And the 3rd component relates to exchange programs in sports and other cultural activities. I am pleased to announce that St. Vincent and the Grenadines will be participating in the Tokyo 2020 Olympic and Paralympic Games. This provides an opportunity for Vincentians to interact through sports and culture.
P.S. Phillips said the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Commerce will continually work with and engage the government of Japan in an effort to maintain close and cordial relations. Seatbelts save lives. That was the reminder given by Inspector Henry Providence as he spoke with SVG-TV News today on the heels of the tragic vehicular accident which took place yesterday morning on the Fountain Public Road. 26-year-old Owani Haynes of Roseau died on the spot, while the other passengers in the vehicle in which he was traveling sustained injuries and are currently patients at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. Inspector Providence gave a brief synopsis of what might have transpired.
Briefly, my instructions are that motor vehicle RL 163, a Blue Toyota RAV4 owned by Haley, ancient of Sand Hill, was driven by one Azari Burton, a 26-year-old laborer of Roseau that was traveling along the VG Highway from the gas station area towards the roundabout. Okay, motor vehicle PT A38, a yellow Mazda car that was traveling in the opposite direction, and my understanding is that it made a sudden right turn into the part of the vehicle that was traveling from the Fountain Public Road, which resulted in him pulling sharply to his right to avoid a head-on collision. As a result, he lost control, struck the retaining wall, struck a tree that was in that area as well, and then collided into a parked vehicle which was parked outside of the road.
How many persons were in the vehicle that crashed?
There were 3 other persons in that vehicle, including the driver and the deceased. 3 other persons were taken to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, where are currently still patients at the hospital.
The veteran traffic cop said the loss of life in a vehicle accident is always tragic and emphasized the need for all to buckle up.
Again, the accident that took place yesterday, we saw the vehicle that was involved overturned, and someone fell out of the vehicle as a result of that. So again, we want to make a very strong appeal to persons to wear seatbelts. Seatbelts save lives, and contrary to what a number of persons believe, that seatbelt is difficult to wear and it makes you feel difficult for you to carry and so forth. We want to make that appeal to you that seatbelt save life. They are there for a purpose, but not only that they will save life, but it is an offense for you to be, whether you're driving or you're a passenger in a motor vehicle, without wearing a seat.
Inspector Providence said there are some persons who believe that only the driver and front passenger need to wear a seatbelt. He said the law applies to all.
And again, I want to let persons know that even if you're riding behind of a Jeep or a car, because persons are of the opinion that is only persons who are riding to the front of these privately owned motor vehicles that should be wearing seatbelt. That is not the case. That is not what the law is saying, and that is not what is required of persons. So the act is saying basically that once you're driving, you should wear a seatbelt. Once you're riding also to the front or to the rear of privately owned motor vehicles, that you must also wear a seatbelt. So we want to give the general public that information. Again, it is important that they are educated as to what is required of them, and we want to give them the time for those persons who are not in compliance to please comply with the regulation, as it says that both persons to the front and to the rear should be wearing seatbelts.
23 recruits were officially invested in the number 23 Ranger Guides unit at an investiture and renewal ceremony hosted last Friday at the SVG Girl Guides Association headquarters in Lever Garden. The ceremony was led and organized by the Ranger Guides under the theme Leaders Today, Leaders Tomorrow, Leaders Always. The organizers say the theme for the investiture and renewal ceremony was developed from the theme for World Thinking Day celebrations worldwide by the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts, which is leadership. In addition to the investiture ceremony, 25 young ladies renewed their promises to continue being of service in their community at the Year 2 level, while 9 young ladies renewed their promises at the Year 3 level. Several Ranger Guides received awards for excellence in various areas. The awards for perfect attendance were received by Tiana Roberts in Year 1, Rachel McDowell in Year 2, and Marissa Baines in Year 3. The awards for excellent community leadership were received by Oscilla Olivier in Year 1, Alexi Humphrey in Year 2, and Rhea Roberts in Year 3. Following Friday's ceremony, the members of the number 23 Ranger Guides unit will now be engaged in tackling several issues in their community through various projects and programs geared at promoting gender equality, addressing cyberbullying, advocating against drug abuse, and developing initiatives geared to reducing the incidence of youth violence. The World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts is the largest organization for girls and young women across the globe, with 10 million members in 150 countries. That's the local news. Coming up, Trinidad and Tobago Police Commissioner calls for all stakeholders involved in the fight against crime to be more responsible.